Hi, it's Barry Z from The Barry Z Show at the home of Rita and Tom Montauredes, who live in this fantastic development called Manhattan Plaza. Right, Rita?
Yes. And thank you for coming today.
Tell us why we're here today.
We're going to share with you a couple of projects that Tom and I finished. One is a musical comedy,
Called
Poontang.
Poontang, not Pootie Tang like the movie.
Not Pootie Tang, it was Poontang. And when I started talking to you, I expressed to you how it came about. And
How did it come about?
I had just lost my vision. And from two unusual eye diseases. And I said to the universe, listen, I know what it's like to suffer. I want to have a good time. I want to have some fun. So it was my birthday. And
When was that?
July 25th.
On July 23rd.
Oh my goodness, we could celebrate.
We should.
Yeah, right?
Every day is a gift from God.
Yeah, it absolutely is, especially when this took place and I could share it with everybody. So, Tom, we have another friend, another partner who is a writer and an actress, and she and Tom exchange their different modalities. She's a backwalker, and Tom's a licensed massage therapist.
I see all the degrees in back of us.
Wow. Yeah, we really encouraged Tom to go and get his license because he was so good at this. So I says, well, you should do it. So
Blind massage therapist.
yeah,
That's incredible.
and that was the job in China that was given to men who lost their sight after war. So it's historical, and Tom went to the Swedish Institute for massage therapy. And it was not a very easy course, very, very difficult course to go through. And he'd come home and he'd be really upset, and I says, okay, you could do it. You could do it.
And he did it.
Did it.
Yeah.
Wow. How long ago was that?
That was from, I was doing it from 94 to 96.
Wow.
So my first unofficial client, I guess, was my grandmother. My grandmother would get really bad gas pains.
Oh.
And she'd say to me, could you give me a massage? And I said, well, yeah, sure. I can give you a massage, Yaya. Yaya's a Greek name for a grandmother.
Oh.
I'd give her a massage. And we'd go to her doctor. And his name was Dr. Disler. I must have been about 11 or 12 years old. You know.
Was that here in New York?
Yeah. This was, and you know, this was the time when people would make house calls. So it's rare for a doctor to make house calls these days, but this was a time when that would go on. So he would go with the stethoscope. I said, "Hey doc, I know where the gas pains are."
Wow.
He said, "Where are they, son?" I'd go like this, up and down the back, just like he was doing.
Wow.
And I knew that, you know, you cannot go in the middle. You go to the left and the right, because in the middle of the vertebra. So, you know, I knew that. I must have known that from eons ago, but I knew it. And he said, "That's really great, son. You know, this is something that you could do for her and do for other people."
Wow.
So she was my first unofficial client, you know.
And then when I met him, he gave me a 3-hour massage
And now you're married and living together.
because I can't afford a massage therapist.
Wow. Unbelievable. Now, were you born blind, Tom?
Was given too much oxygen in the incubator, and my brother and I were preemies. So I think he was 5 pounds 3 ounces. I was 3'5".
Wow.
Yeah. So we were about 7 months, something like that.
So you have never been able to see, huh?
Little flashes of things here and there. I'd get something. Oh, this is red, isn't it? You know, that kind of thing. Some things would come in once in a while, but basically no.
Do you read Braille?
I do.
Uh-huh. What about you, Rita?
I have seen until 2011.
And what happened to you?
The cornea, I have glaucoma and a cornea disease. So the glaucoma I had to have surgery for the cornea. Then there were 3 other problems during this particular surgeries that I had. So I had 4 different types of surgeries in one, and it never came back. It never came back. But, I had Tom, who's my hero. He was always free. He never felt that there was parameters in his life. So if he didn't feel there was parameters in his life, why should I?
Good for you.
Why should I? And the only thing that I still have to develop is learning how to really get around. I could do absolutely everything else. I could cook. I could do business. I sew.
Wow.
And so by the time it was 2011, and in that year, just before it left, I put the books together because we have run a business. And
What kind of business?
a tuning business. So Tom's one of the top 10 tuners in the city.
Wow.
And
Piano tuner.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and he's very well respected. And so Tom was at Metropolitan Opera, and we met this fellow during a party, and he interviewed Tom, and he said, "Would you like to apprentice here?" And he already knew how to tune, but he really showed him the fundamentals of being a great tuner.
That's how you met Tom?
No,
Oh.
I met him through the mafia.
No, come on, seriously.
I met him through the mafia.
Tell us about that.
Okay. My first boyfriend and I met at college, and so
That was here in New York?
that was here in New York, BMCC. I love the place. Everybody should go there. And we had a band called Celestial Railroad. So Cami Hall, which is across the street from Carnegie Hall, had an audition. And the audition was for singers to play in this movie. And I don't remember the prize fighter's name, but he wanted to have some singers. So we auditioned, our background was really, background vocals were really great. And we didn't get the audition. So we're downstairs, we're just talking amongst ourselves because we were in our early 20s, right? And then all of a sudden, this guy who he looked like he had a bad toupee and a Elvis imitator comes over. He goes, "Hey, I really like your harmonies. I want you to meet my musical director." Just like that, right? So we made an appointment with him. He came to my house, my apartment, and this man named David Spiegel was his musical director, and they played all over the world. And so David was in a band with Tom's twin brother. So, David and I became really good friends, and I was in love with David, but David wasn't interested in me. And I was very naive. So one day he said to me, "Do you have any girlfriends that I could meet?" And of course, dummy said, "Sure," So I introduced him to my friend Ann, and they became boyfriend and girlfriend. And these were my best friends, so I figured, okay, they're hanging out together, doesn't mean that we can't still hang out. So one day they went to visit Tom's parents' house, and Ann met Tom. She says, "Oh, we got to introduce Rita to Tom because she needs to be needed." That was her understanding. We hit it off instantly. It was just instant. And we met on January 1st. That was our New Year's present.
What year was that?
You could do it. It's 1977.
God bless.
1977. And that was it.
You got married?
We got married almost a year later, in 78, in August. And it was so easy to be with him. And people would say, "Why are you going to marry somebody who's blind?" I said, "Because he's the nicest person I know." He still is.
After how many years now?
Tom knows how many.
Well,
years.
it would be 39 now.
God
It'd be
bless
40.
you. It's 40 years.
40 years in in 2017,
Wow.
with New Year's Day 77 being when we met each other.
That's incredible. Now, your brother was blind too, no?
No,
He wasn't.
no.
And you guys were twins.
We're twins. He's 3 minutes older, so he came out long enough to write a song before I could come out. Yeah.
So besides meeting one another and having this great relationship, you guys are songwriters, playwriters, musical writers, right? Book writers. Tell me about that.
Okay. I've been writing since I was 8 years old, poetry. And I was discouraged by my family not to be a writer or poet because they said they don't make any money. But I still had the desire to do it. And so I continued writing, and I do belong to the Poetry Society, International Poetry Society, and got one of my poems in it. And so...
What was the name of the poem?
It has to do with compassionate heart.
Wow.
And
It was published. Wow.
okay. And we were, we put some music together, and we're still working on the music because it's not right yet.
Right.
And so, but I continued writing, and I really wanted to be a singer. And I've
Well,
been,
you have the voice.
thank you. When I was a little girl, I was a dancer. And I
Not
started,
topless, right?
no, was that 2.5?
At 2.5, you can be a topless dancer.
Yeah, nobody would say anything, right? And so, so my dance teacher said she's tone deaf, and it took me living with Tom all these years, and I picked up the guitar last October.
Wow.
And I learned a little bit of guitar when I was 17, but I didn't get it. I couldn't hear sound. I mean, I could sing and I could do it by rote, but I couldn't understand it. So in October, I picked the guitar up and I learned Jingle Bells.
Oh, my God. Wow.
I learned Jingle Bells. I played it, because Tom and I are Buddhist. I played it for our Buddhist district meeting. And Tom played along with me, and I got through it, even though he didn't tell me that they were going to sing faster than I could play.
Unbelievable.
So he played louder, and at least I ended with him. I ended with him, and our girlfriend said, "Well, you look like you knew what you were doing." And Tom knew, but he wouldn't discourage me. And so now I've got about 6 or 7 songs down since October.
Wow.
And Tom sits there and he goes, "Okay, it's an E or an F, and I'll play it."
And you play by ear, of course.
Yes.
That's unbelievable. So does Tom, no?
Yeah,
You play by ear, right, Tom?
I do.
Wow, that's incredible. What a gift. You both have this incredible gift. And you were so lucky enough to meet by God's good graces.
Yeah, I prayed for him too.
Wow.
I asked the universe for him.
Now, you wrote a new musical, right, both of you, called, not Pootie Tang, right?
Poontang.
Tell me what Poontang means.
It's a woman's private parts.
I see.
Okay, but it's tongue-in-cheek, the whole play.
Really?
Yeah, it's tongue-in-cheek, and a lot of people don't use tongue-in-cheek. We wanted to
What is tongue-in-cheek?
double entendres. So you could say one thing and it means something else, but it's all inside of your own mind.
Wow.
So it's up to you how you want to interpret it.
Now, is the musical finished?
Yes.
So we're going to put it on Broadway where it belongs now?
Yes.
Okay. And what are the song titles?
One is called Poontang,
Uh-huh.
and if you want to hear that, we could ask to put it on. Doc, would you like to do that for us? And
Wow.
this was done because I was just having fun. I wanted to have fun. I was just acting silly.
Wow.
And so we completed this one, and we went into John Kilgore sound recordings and recorded. This was the first time I ever recorded in my life.
Oh, my God.
And John is a wonderful, wonderful recording engineer. And after we finished, his assistant said, "You were the fastest group we ever had in here."
Oh, my God.
And they do Broadway people.
Did you do all the songs from the show?
No, we did 4. We have 4. We have an EP. Are you ready? Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, let me give you the mic so we can hear you play the music. Or is it going to come from a CD?
Poontang, oh, she dressed real neat. Oh, Poontang, when she walks down the street, all the men fell at her feet. They say, "Poontang, come out and play with me. Oh, Poontang, oh girl, come to me. I'm on my knees, honey, can't you see? We could be so happy now, don't you agree? Singing Poontang, early in the morning, Poontang, everybody needs it, Poontang.
sure you won't get in that door if you don't leave me more than one slim dime. But you want poontang early in the morning, poontang, everyone needs it, poontang early in the evening, poontang, anytime you want it, please be my poontang all the time.
Wow, that's incredible, my God. Wow. And it's very catchy, too. Are we going to hear more music from the show or no?
Sure.
We are?
Yeah,
There's how many songs in this?
we have 4 on this one, but there's 11 songs, and you need money to finish the song, so we don't have enough money to do the rest of it.
We'll get you the money.
Thank you. Thank you. So
It sounds very country and western.
that one is, and when I was doing the first one, I'm saying, "Oh my goodness, you sound like alfalfa, Rita." And
No.
so we did that one, and then,
You sound better than Dolly Parton.
well, thank you.
Yes.
She's beautiful.
Wow,
And
so are you.
thank you. And there was a song. It sounds like it's a Smoky Cafe, a jazz piece that I wrote.
Smokey Joe's Cafe music.
Yeah, and I had been learning how to sing when I was 16 years old through Joni Mitchell, so I could jump perfect octaves. Folky, very folky.
Wow.
And I'm sitting here and I'm trying my best to do this particular song, which is called You Don't Know Me. And it took me 6 months to write because I had to learn how to write a torch song.
You have that on this tape?
We have it on this tape, and the fellow who is our saxophonist, he is a very well-known, which I didn't know at the time, saxophone player, and his name is David Schnitter. And so he played it for us, and he also is a teacher at the New School. And I was very shy because they're musicians, and I was shy about it. And so he says, "Come, you sing it for me, And I'm going, "Oh my goodness!" In front of
And that did it, huh?
yeah. And he said, "You know what? This is really nice." He goes, "It's a hit."
It's a hit.
That's what he said. It's a hit.
Can we hear this? We got to hear this. Wow. Okay. Tom, did you play backup on all this music?
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
Wow. What instruments did you play?
On this one, piano. Yeah,
Incredible.
piano, and on the others, I played the rest of the instruments on the other 2 that are on there.
I have a question for both of you. When your eyesight went, in fact, Tom, it was when you were born it went, right?
Right.
Has it increased your awareness or your senses in a lot of different ways? Your other senses?
That's a fallacy that people believe. And what happened to me is I always had a strong sense of smell. So I could actually, I could actually smell what's going on in the kitchen, where I'll ask Tom, and Tom won't know. So there was the gas on in the kitchen, I'm in the bedroom, and he didn't know.
Wow.
The hearing is something that both of us have. I didn't realize this either. And Tom would show me what the bells on the F train were.
Right.
What are they?
Let's see, C, E, right? Yeah,
What did you say?
C and E. Boom, boom. They would always
Do that again, please.
Boom, boom. They would be like that.
Wow.
Most elevators are. That's what most of them are. Most of them are B flat.
Wow.
I actually have a story about that.
Do you want to come by and introduce yourself and tell us a story? Here's the mic.
This is Doc.
I'm Doc. I'm their kid. My name is Donald Moyer, but they call me Doc.
And you're their son.
I'm their son. I'm their adopted, their not wanted son. But when I very first met them, I came from North Carolina, which is a country town. I actually met them here. A mutual friend of ours. I was having a few issues when I first moved here, of course, like most people. And a mutual friend of ours who is in the music industry introduced me to them. And from then on, I just kept learning things. First, I learned I could get out into the city and go anywhere I wanted to by myself. I was afraid at first. But when I saw Mr. T just leave every morning going to work by himself, then that they convinced me. Look, I can go out and do that
secret
without
idol.
without a dog, without any aid, just him and his stick, and he would just go out and he would go to Brooklyn and Queens and places like that, and I was like, okay, if he can do that, I can do that. But when I started working for them, my phone rang, and I immediately cut it off because I was at work, and I heard it ring again. And I'm looking at the phone, and I'm like, no, my phone is not ringing. Mr. T was on the piano playing my phone tone. Right. So you can imagine how I felt when I very first saw this. So I'm like, wow, his ear has got to be really, really tight.
And you're a musician yourself.
I'm a musician myself. I had just started. He actually gave me my very first professional gig. He invited me to open up for him for the Library for the Blind. And I got paid for the performing arts, which was my very
What
first.
instruments do you play?
I'm a singer.
A singer?
I'm a singer.
Wow,
And
you write your own music too?
no, actually, I'm still trying to get into that groove. Long story short, as of right now, I sing in 3 major groups. One is the Paragons, who had hit records in the 50s. One is the Jarmels, who had hit records in the 60s. And now I'm currently singing with the Platters. Sonny Turner and the Platters.
The Platters?
Yes, sir. We were just at the Beacon Theater about 2 weeks ago, and we will be in Staten Island the 9th of October, and we will be in Tarrytown the 12th of December.
What songs are they known for?
Only You. With this ring, I promise I'll always love you, always love you. That one, and what is it? Only You can make the world seem right. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
The other one is was it? Heavenly shades of night keep falling.
Wow.
It's twilight time. That's one of the other ones.
Yeah, Twilight Time.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
so he's had a lot of different hits, but thank you so much. I mean,
Thank you.
these are the guys right here. Thank you, Mr. Barry.
Thank you. God bless you.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is another song from Poontang, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's hear it. What is it called?
You Don't Know Me.
Hit it.
You walk through a doorway, all battered and torn. You wore your heart on your sleeve. A man who was bleeding, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I don't know you. That's all I can say. I don't know you. As I turn my back away, you don't know me. No, you don't know me. My job was to walk you through time and to help ease your mind. As you were coming through, I saw some growth in you. The strings of my heart, they started to play. Though I knew it wasn't right, but I did it anyway. You don't know me. That's all I can say. You don't know me. As I turn my back away, you don't know me. No, you don't know me. That's what I like about you. As you were coming through, I saw some growth in you. You booked some time for next week as a tear ran down my cheek. When you walked away, I just couldn't speak. You don't know me, that's all I can say. You don't know me. As I turn my back away, you don't know me. No, you don't know me. No, you don't know me. No, you don't know me.
Wow, unbelievable. Wow. Oh my God. Wow, what a voice.
That's my favorite song.
What'd you say?
That's my favorite song, actually.
Come here.
Yeah, I have to admit that's my favorite song. I was there when she started writing it, and it just to see it grow the way it did is just awesome. It's awesome. I love it.
Unbelievable.
Yes, sir.
There's going to be a hit Broadway musical. You know that? Rita, who's joining us now?
One of our closest friends, Tim.
Tell me about Tim.
Tim happens to be one of the most incredible, encouraging people that anyone would ever come across. And Tim, has had a 6-level cervix surgery, which most people do not come out of walking. And so he was very, very determined that he was going to get well. He's already had 30 surgeries. We never spoke about our diseases. It just, Tim, as if you could look to your left, how I met Tim was because I needed a painter and someone who could do some wallpapering.
And he lives here at Manhattan Plaza?
Lives here, and he did my wall for me.
Oh, it's incredible.
So Tim and I became friends because we both go swimming, and he'd always say hello to me, and he was very funny. And Helen Haft, who...
I know Helen. She's been on my show.
Helen Haft was one of our friends.
Is she still around?
She passed away.
She passed away. I'm sorry to hear that.
And
She was in a movie called Trick, which I screened.
yes, she was in a lot of movies. What a character! What a character!
She lived here in Manhattan Plaza.
Yes, she lived above us, and we met, and we all went swimming together. And when Helen would get out of sorts, Tim would go ahead, Tim. Helen, you're incorrigible, he would say. Yeah. And she was a riot, a wild redhead. And we became friends, and as time went on, Tim and I just kept, meeting each other in the pool, and slowly we began to, see each other more and more. And during the last couple of years, I began to teach men how to cook.
Okay, so let's take this again. A blind woman teaching men how to cook.
Yes.
Wow.
So the first video, and that's the title of our book. My book is called If I Could Cook, You Could Cook. And I needed assistance because there are certain things that were difficult for me to do. And I knew safety was important. So, Tim would come over, we'd have dinner together, and then Tim would be in the kitchen. And the first video that I ever did was with Tim. Tom and I wrote the music. We have the video on, our computer, and I decided to be a little bit funny.
Right.
So I had to figure out a name for Tim. So we called him Rocco Pazzo,
Rocco Pazzo.
yeah, which means crazy in the head.
Wow.
And then I called myself Giovanna Diablo,
The blind cook.
which means the devil of John.
Wow.
The devil of John. So I put this together. Brett, who you met, was the videographer. And so I sat down, and we really made a difficult recipe first. And the first recipe we did was shrimp scampi. the shell off the shrimp, and we're going to do it like this. And it's quite easy to do. The legs come off with the shrimp automatically. And what we're also going to do is remove the tail. And I'm going to put it into cold water. So this way Rocco can actually show you how to remove the vein. And he uses a wonderful system by turning on the cold water and slicing down the back of the shrimp. And the vein automatically pops out with the help of the flowing water.
Okay, now the next thing we have to do is take the skin off the shrimp,
And we're going to...
rip the tail off,
Right.
get all the skin off the back of the shrimp, cutting it down, get the legs off first, and peel back the skin, like down the middle, right where the vein is. Then we spread it open. Try to locate the vein. There it is. Grab a hold of the vein, and you just remove it from the shrimp. There it goes. Nothing left. That's how you get the vein out of the shrimp. Just double check, make sure there's nothing left. Okay, all these shrimps have been peeled, cut down the middle, and the vein has been taken out. And we lay them out on the sheet to be cooked.
I'm using 2 pieces of gluten-free bread, and we're going to place them in the toaster oven. I'm going to place the toaster oven on light toast because we are going to be retoasting this later on. We're going to use a grater today, and we're not going to use the smaller section. We're going to use the medium section.
Why do you use the medium?
Well, what happens is with the smaller section, it seems to stick onto the grater, and then you have a rougher time, just peeling it off.
Wow.
So, my experience here is that I've always used this section, which is the medium size, and it seems to flow easier. So, you want to just keep on going. You don't want to be stopping and cleaning. So what we're going to do is just grate this toast, and after I grate all the toast, what I'm going to ask you to do is just add the herbs into it, and then you're going to mix them with a fork or a spoon, whichever one is easiest or more convenient for you. And then we'll have the herbs and the breadcrumbs totally mixed together, which we're going to set aside for later to put on top of our shrimp. Now we're going to add the herbs to the breadcrumbs. We're going to first take the, smell it. Isn't that great? It's Greek oregano. Okay, so we're going to add that. Okay, and then we're going to take the parsley, which is this one. Okay, we're going to add this. And parsley has a very, very mild smell to it. And of course, we're going to take this lovely basil, which we isn't this great? Wow, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and, with a spoon, you want to make sure everything's out. Thank you for the spoon. Make sure everything's out of here, You always have to do that, so you're really careful. And then, I want you to gently stir it with a fork. It goes all through. So the herbs go all through.
There we go. Gently stir with fork. All the way through. Making sure everything gets completely buried.
Well, actually mixed together.
Yeah.
Because we're not burying a body here, you know what I mean?
No, that's all we're after.
Okay, and then after we do that, we're going to set this aside.
Set aside.
Because we're going to use that, of course, as you know, on top of the shrimp scampi.
There we go.
Okay, great. And now we're going to put this on top of our shrimp, which we're going to place in the broiler.
Okay, the next step is to put the shrimp all prepared into the broiler. Take the broiler out like that, pick up the shrimp, and you put it on the highest, the top, the one closest to the flame, and you just put it in the oven, close it up, and you cook it for 5 minutes, keeping an eye on it. Now we remove the shrimp from the oven. Nicely browned there. You just pick it up with these, take it out. Make sure you don't drop it. And then, pick it up, and that's it. They're done beautifully.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the most important part. You take the extra sauce that you had cooking in the oven, and you just drizzle it over all of the shrimp. All that good stuff that the shrimp was cooking in. How we doing? Oh.
Oh, wow. This is perfect.
Over the top.
You're such an inspiration for people in general, blind or not blind. You know that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's very kind of you.
Both of you. Now, I was fortunate enough to meet you at Trip of Love, right, on Broadway or off Broadway.
Yeah.
We were both seeing the musical,
Yeah.
or you were listening to it, I should say.
Yeah.
Wow, and that was a '60s retrospective, right? It was incredible music.
That's what it was, yeah.
Wow. You haven't seen it, have you, Rita?
Not yet.
We're going to take you to see it. What else are you involved in before we leave?
Let me see. What else could we?
We talked about the book. We talked about the play. Or the musical, I should say. What else are we going to talk about?
I'm a Reiki master.
What is Reiki?
Reiki is it's hands-on healing, and it
Spiritual healing?
yes, and it can be. It depends on what you need, because I'm just the catalyst, and it is very similar to massage, but it's not through manipulation. And so you have to be trained. You have to get certified. You take courses, and it stimulates your lymphatic system, and it helps with relaxation and healing of the body. The Reiki practitioner, the first Reiki practitioner came from Hawaii, and she had to go to a funeral for her sister in Japan. This was the most important part of her life. She had pancreatic problems. She was on the surgery table, and she heard this voice to stop the surgery. She stopped the surgery, had to go to Japan, and there they encouraged her to take Reiki. She had several sessions during the month, and it was during World War II. And the gentleman at that time needed to bring Reiki out of Japan because of the war, and they wanted to give it to a woman.
Wow.
So she studied there. She came back to Hawaii, and her master or sensei came to help her set up practice. It is because of Mrs. Waksui, and I believe that's probably not the right pronunciation of her name, but that's okay. And she began in Hawaii and started with 20 practitioners.
Oh, my God.
And
That's incredible.
And so it comes throughout the rest of the United States. And when I began to practice, you just step aside. You're a catalyst. You're not, you don't use your ego here, and you help the body heal. So one woman came to our house, and she was in a back brace, and I gave her gratis. And Tom could tell you this. She was
What is gratis?
free.
Not gratis.
Free. Okay, and thank you. And so I gave her a session. She took her back brace off and never put it back on again.
Oh, my God. Wow.
And that was the first time. Sorry.
Miracle healing.
That was the first time I saw something like this.
Wow.
The second time I saw something like this, I had a client, and she came because she had a broken wrist. And, she came regularly, and we just kept on working on her. And I didn't know that she had hepatitis C. She went back to the doctors, and it was gone.
Oh, my God. What can you do about my constipation?
Oh, Okay, Tom's a massage therapist. That's one thing. The next thing is that we're going to have salad for lunch.
That should do it, right?
That will help, plus having at least 8 glasses of water
8 glasses.
for the day.
Wow.
Okay, 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, 2 before 8 o'clock at night. Then apples, pears are very, very important to your system.
Uh-huh.
And there is a very important presentation which I use and taught Tim how to do this, to eat 5 to 7 vegetables, fruits and vegetables per day.
Wow.
If you do this every single day, your body will change, it will heal.
It's amazing that you have all these gifts, and so does your husband and your friend. But you have the extra added handicap of being blind, you and your husband. How do you manage to overcome blindness to make all these inroads or accomplishments in life?
Tom and I have studied Buddhism since 1984. And when I began, I was very sad, and I could see. I had all my faculties.
You lost a baby too, right?
We lost a child. And that's when we began to practice, when I was pregnant. And so the philosophy really encourages people to have human dignity and appreciation for your life. When you don't have appreciation for your life, you're usually sitting thinking about the past, and you can't do anything about the past because it doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Okay? Or you're fretting about the future. And the information that we received, and training is that whatever you do now will help you with tomorrow, but you must be doing something right now. And having dignity for everyone else's life, to have appreciation for everyone's life, and especially your own, changed me inside.
Even though you had a loss of vision.
Well, it says peach, pear, plum, everything is equal the same. It's just as wonderful as it is. So just because you've lost your sight or your arm doesn't mean that you need to stop functioning. Get up and live. Live until the last breath of your life.
How do you avoid all the problems that you have to deal with in daily life of being blind?
Unfortunately, you have to teach. And why do I say unfortunately is because many times people don't understand, or they fear you, or they think that you're not a capable person. So for years people would ask me, what do you do with yourself? So I'm a little sarcastic, and I said, well, I stare at the 4 walls until they start working with us. And Doc came here, Tim came here, another friend came here, and people were amazed at how much we do during the day. But when you're working towards becoming, you either do it or you don't. You have a choice in life. So, doesn't make a difference. Tim could see. I say, Tim, put your glasses on. I need to read this. And Tim, leaves his glasses here for us. Or Doc helps out with something. You have to live your life the best of your ability.
Now, you came from a background of being able to see,
Yeah.
to coming to the present where you can see.
Right.
How do you make that kind of adjustment? Or how do you, not, deal with the fact that you don't have the vision anymore to be able to see what you used to see?
I was working in ophthalmology, and I also had Tom. Okay, now Tom, if people didn't allow him to do what he wanted to do, he lived his life. So we worked very hard to get a library for the blind in New York. There wasn't a library. There's only 2 in the state. And when I was pregnant, there wasn't any pregnancy books. And I could see at that time, and the Lighthouse didn't have any sessions to teach him how to diaper a baby. And I said, my husband has the right to read a book on pregnancy. And I happen to be very, very feisty. If you tell me no, I'm going to change the world.
Good for you.
And so I got out there with Tom, and we were the only 2 constituents that were on a bus with 450 other librarians and other buses to march on Albany to get this library. And, you know, we sat and talked to aides, and they said, why do you want a library? Why should we give you $16 million? You know, $16 million bond issue. And I said to them, well, if you spoke another language that nobody else spoke, he had to buy 2 books so for school. One book was the reader would read it, and the other was a monitor. All of the other college students bought one, and he only had at that time his disability, which was $127.
Wow.
So to live on that while you're trying to become is very difficult. So I was determined that we were going to get free. So whatever I did in life was because Tom happens to be a very intelligent man. He's a very kind man. He's a very good person. And no matter what, he was going to get what he deserved.
You got the funding for this.
Yeah,
Now, how many libraries for the blind are there
2.
in New York?
That's it.
Oh my God.
And it's not even a circulating library. You go to a desk and you tell the desk clerk what you want, and they're only books that are for pleasure for the most part. If you need college books, you have to go to 40th Street, make an appointment. You cannot just walk in and pick a book off of the shelves. So it still is difficult.
So we have to get funding now for more libraries, or every library to have a literary section for blind people.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And you want to change other things too, like in the building that you live in right now, the elevators don't beep or have a sound so you know what floor you're on, right?
Well, if they beep, it sounds like calling a dog. I'm not a dog. Okay, so you can't figure out what floor it is if somebody's beeping at you. So when the elevators came here, I stood up and spoke to the manager, and I said, we need to put a talking chip in here. And he didn't want to. He said it'll be annoying to him. So I called up the Jewish Guild, and I spoke to the general manager who is in charge of the building. His name is Mr. Green, and he says, well, if you're putting in elevators, it's easy to put the talking chip in. You could program it the way it should.
Isn't it a law to do that?
I worked on this, and I called up the Commission for Disability, the Deputy Commission. He came over without telling me. They took pictures and said, oh, well, yeah, you could use this. Well, I had somebody take a picture. There's glare. When you have glare and you have a cornea disease or you're losing your vision, you can't see silver on silver. Oh. It's silver on silver. It is a visual issue. And I worked with Lorraine Markey, who was the founder for people who were hard of sight. She has passed away as of 2011. And she worked very, very hard for large print and to ensure the safety of all people who had low vision. And I lectured over there to residents, and she was a woman who made sure that in her office she had, let me see, how would you say this? Not only materials that would help you, but devices. So there would be large magnifying glasses, lights, bulbs, tape recorders. She had a library with large print. She started the large print that all of the publishers have to use the parameters of large print. She did this, and I was fortunate enough to be, at the feet of the mentor. Unbelievable. So with the deputy commissioner, I helped him write a chapter about what my desire was. I still didn't get the tear sheet from it, and I still can't use the elevator. I can't get out of the house because the panel is changed from the first one. Now, Tom can't even find floor 4. So they didn't use the ability of me or Tom, and when I say me, it's because I was a patient advocate for people who were losing their sight in glaucoma. Why didn't you ask me before you put up the elevators?
Right, of course. And they didn't.
They didn't. He wouldn't budge.
Unbelievable.
And there are at least half of the tenants are over 55.
Right.
So when you're 40 years old, there are changes in one's vision.
Uh-huh.
You know, this is not, me pulling this out of the air. It's statistics. And when your vision changes, you need certain support.
Including floaters in my eyes.
You have the floaters.
Yes.
What color are they?
I don't know. I can't see them.
They're either white or black, or if they're black, we have to do something about that. But floaters are, here. It's all part of eye health.
Right.
And you must take a person's lifestyle into consideration when you have such a wonderful community as this.
There's so much more to be done, like you're saying. Yes. In addition, what about having a seeing eye dog?
I have a one-bedroom apartment, and let me be delicate about this. You have to pick up the excretion of your dog. I think that would be a little bit difficult.
I see.
And
how do most people do it then? Deal with seeing eye dogs?
I never asked. And Tom and I had animals for pets.
So would you prefer to be with a seeing eye dog to make your life easier, being blind?
I would prefer being with having a dog as a pet. And, it depends on your personality, because, you have to get up in the morning, feed the dog. Right. So the dog is a responsibility. And people don't realize that, it's great that you have a seeing eye dog, but it really depends on the person, how they function in life. Tom's been using a cane since he's been a child.
And you?
And I started with the rolling tip. And so it's easier for me to see the ground with a rolling tip.
Oh, wow. Now you said see the ground.
Yes.
How does that work with a rolling tip?
Well, it's like a little golf ball on the end of the stick.
Uh-huh.
So while you're rolling this with this hand, with your right hand, if you're right-handed. Okay, so it will tell you if there's a crack.
Oh my God! Wow.
In the floor. The dog can't tell you.
Right, that's true.
Okay, even though he guides you and he does a very good job, but while you're walking down the street, you could tell things with the rolling tip where you couldn't before when there wasn't. Because it was a tapping thing, right? You're tapping.
Yeah.
So, and also it was very uncomfortable because sometimes it would go, you'd stop because there was a broken piece in the sidewalk and it would jolt into your stomach.
Wow.
So somebody created this rolling tip. So, it just rolls back and forth, back and forth.
Radar.
Yeah.
It's like radar, you said?
Like radar, yeah.
Do you have any words of advice for our viewers?
Yes. When you're sad or when you're feeling life is really difficult, go out and do something for someone else. You go to the Foundling Hospital, pick up a baby, help an elderly person in the street. Do whatever you can, because when you reach out towards somebody else, all of a sudden your life feels better just by helping someone else out. It doesn't make a difference what you do. Get involved.
It's karma, right? What you put out there comes back.
It comes out. Yeah, it comes back.
Over and over again.
It comes back. Groundhog Day.
Right. Anything you want. Oh, yeah, Groundhog Day, one of my favorite movies with Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Right.
They're going to do a Broadway musical, I think, on it.
I hope so. That'd be funny.
That would be fun.
Why do you believe Groundhog Day is an interesting movie?
Because he had to get it right. He woke up every single day and made the same problems from himself, and he was nasty to other people. And every single day, he got up at 7 o'clock. I believe it was 7 o'clock. Forgive me if I made a mistake. And until he got it right, he had to repeat it. So you repeat the lesson, and the lesson gets harder if you're not listening. whether you believe in God or, whatever your foundation in spirituality is, if you're not listening, the lesson gets harder.
Well, you guys are true inspirations for everybody. Living, not living. Well, not living. I mean, let me pick this up. You guys are true inspirations for everyone living, especially with a disorder like being blind. You call it a disorder?
It's a, what would you say, Tom?
Yeah,
Bit of inconvenience.
It's a little inconvenience. Disorder? I'm not sure about that, but an inconvenience. But, you make up your mind to do what you got to do, I'm having a ball, too, because every Friday I'm playing at this place called Musaka Trattoria.
Oh, yeah. We have to talk about that quickly.
It's on 30. It's between 39th and 40th on 9th Avenue. The owner is a guy who sings rock and roll like Mario Alonso. So he's like Mario Alonso trying to sing rock and roll.
And we can see you there every Friday and Saturday?
Every Friday.
Terrific. Where can we see you?
It's 536 9th Avenue is the address. I'm there from 9 to midnight.
Well, we'll be there.
Oh, great.
Where can we see you?
Thank you.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you.
You gonna say anything
Yeah.
else?
So, that's about it from 9 to midnight. And, the guy's an entertainer within himself, so we do things back and forth with each other.
Musaka, right?
Yeah.
La Traviata, actually. La Traviata?
La Traviata. Let me see. It's
La Traviata.
La Trattoria
Right.
Musaka.
Now that's where we can see you perform every Friday night.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Rita, where can we see you?
Actually, I call in the radio station. I like to be,
Correspondent.
yes. Hi, my name is Rita Montauredes, and this is my husband.
I'm Tom Montauredes.
And we're very appreciative to Barry Z, who's a visionary, a very gracious man, and we are so appreciative that he invited us on his show. And heart to heart, this is a man full of heart. And I hope and pray that this man's life just bursts like the sun in the morning. Thank you so much for listening to Barry Z.
Thank you. That's what we both want. Yeah. That's exactly it.